How do I begin this? You know, sometimes I look back at my spiritual journey and question, what did I really gain from it? Did I gain anything? Is it a bunch of bullshit? After all, I still suffer the problems that most people suffer. I'm still able to enjoy things that most people enjoy. I'm still experiencing the heartbreaks, all those things. Still facing the many temptations. If it's anything I learned from my journey, my spiritual journey, which is closing in on 10 years now, is that although I'm able to uh, engage in activities of the common folk, I'm able to partake in certain vices or whatever it is. It always seemed to affect me in a way where I had to break free from those things. And perhaps that is the sign of a chosen one. And I'll never try to paint myself as the chosen one exactly. I just want to put the focus on you, and I want to see uh, what you gather from this information. For example, I had no problem smoking weed whenever I wanted. I could smoke all day, no problem. Shortly after I got on my spiritual journey, with within a year or so, my body just stopped responding well to marijuana, like terribly. Like it started putting me in the place of doom, impending doom, you know, as it can be described from many people who have been on trips with marijuana or shrooms, whatever it is. The feeling of impending doom, you question if you are dying, which is something that I had to get very familiar with over the past couple years in my dealings with depersonalization. Now, ultimately, I ended up getting sober. You know, um, my lust for sex, my craving for sex, led me to semen retention, obviously. It led me to semen retention. It led me to getting away from the porn. My uh, tendency to be fully relaxed when not only ejaculating, but just eating heavy earlier in the day led me to intermittent fasting. All right, all of these things were taking me out left, just one by one, and I had to remove them one by one. Convenience kills. I'm doing it to this day, getting rid of things that are just not working for me, as you will soon find out. Um, what are some more things? Uh, things like what I say? Oh, watching television too early in the day. It led me to pushing TV time towards the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I could make time to be more productive. Where I am right now, which I was alluding to, is that I'm cutting back tremendously on social media. It's like feeding a bottomless pit. It's getting me nowhere. With me being banned here, banned there, getting posts removed here and there, getting restricted. You know, to the point where I'm not even making much traction. People aren't. I'm not hearing from. People aren't seeing my posts because they're being restricted by Facebook. And I'm like, what am I even doing here? What am I doing? I'm doing nothing. It's taking up a lot of my time. you know. Um, Time that could be and willpower, time and willpower that could be better spent somewhere else building up my life, you know. Um, I guess I had this bit of FOMO because I would interact with women on there, and I had this bit of FOMO that led to me like wanting to stay on a little bit longer because she at Nanny's house. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, the bit of FOMO that wanted me to keep the social media presence going because I you know, certain women I would interact with on there, see if they get back to me, see if we can link up or whatever it is. Now I'm putting that on the back burner. I'm putting that behind. I'm putting talk time with my friends, with my best guys. I'm putting that behind. I remember hearing about this years ago. I remember like Tyrese talking about it. You so antisocial, and they say, I'm out here trying to get it. You always working so hard. I'm trying to get it. It's making more sense to me the older that I get, and that this life leaves a lot of opportunity for joy, for fulfillment, and things like that. But you have to get to that point. You really got to build it so those opportunities can come. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be serious about that. You really got to be a fucking monster. If you truly are the chosen one, if you truly are going to take the road less traveled, it's going to require your attention, and it's going to require sacrifices. It's going to require you being misunderstood. You being misunderstood by people that you love the most. And as I internally feel myself get into a very pivotal moment in my life, a make or break moment, it's just something that I feel. Maybe it's arbitrary, but as I experience these things, now it's like I'm cutting off all types of weight. You know what I mean? And getting more serious about the things that I wanted to be serious about. Because although, I may do a bunch of this, let's say I do a bunch of writing, I'm not really a writer. Let's say I do a bunch of singing, I'm not really a singer. I do a bunch of parenting, I'm not really a parent. You know, what I am destined to be is far greater than what I have been engaging in. And it's far greater than a lot of things that I've been incorporating into my life. I just have to leave that behind. And, it's funny, like you talked to me 10 years ago, because I'm almost 31, but you talked to me 10 years ago, and I would have felt like an absolute loser to even think to myself, like, wow, I'm putting women behind. I'm gonna feel like a loser. I'm not getting laid. You know, now I'm at that point where it's like, bro, I've already reproduced. There were women in my past. There's women in my present. There's going to be women in my future. Even if I say to hell with women for a while, a year, 3 years, 5 years, however long it takes to really build up a greater foundation. Even still, like my mindset is not to build it so women can come. No pun intended. Um, but it's to to build something that's meant for me, something they can't take away from me. And I've been playing the game too small, you know, for fear that I guess, that I would stand out or that I would be misunderstood. But I've been standing out my whole life, and I've been misunderstood my whole life. Might as well get something out of it, don't you think? Yeah. And so I'm very grateful to have a book like Thick Face Black Heart, to have a book like Relentless and Winning by the same author who is Tim Grover, To have these books that really put the focus on you, and it's like, create, just create. In spite of what other people may have to say about it, this is your world. This is your life. You've been given this unique perspective towards the world, to face the world, in your own way. So you have to do something with it. You know, it leaves a lot of room for play, but it is not a joke. All right, and you can have a beautiful time here. You have to rise above the circumstances that you find yourself in. You have to rise above the mediocrity in the forms of people around you, as far as what you do with your free time. You should want to sustain that free time by restricting yourself a bit, make yourself a bit uncomfortable so you can build and show other people that it's possible through your journey, through your testimony. Life keeps forcing me, and I keep being guided to this point where I have to cut things out. There's no way around it. I've reached a certain point mentally and spiritually where certain things just won't do. I won't keep beating a dead horse. I won't keep banging my head against the wall. I'll always try to optimize my way of living to get to my desired destinations. And you should be thinking the same thing. Are you the chosen one? Do you really look at yourself in the mirror and say that you're destined for something greater than the life you are living? Do you really feel like people are sleeping on you? Do you really feel like you got a bad hand? And do you always gravitate towards those epic moments in the movies and those songs that make you feel like you could do anything? Do you live for those moments, those inspirational moments? If that's so, if that's the case, then let me remind you that you got to make time to block out the world. It's not you really blocking out the world, it's you blocking out the matrix. And you do this so you can focus on your own world and cultivate it in a way that feeds others as well as yourself, in a way that allows you to shine the way you were meant to shine. I can't say that everyone will get that calling, but if you get that calling, you must take it as far as you possibly can, as far as you humanly can, because before you know it, the window will be closed. Before you know it, this journey will be all over. And looking back at your life, what is it all worth to live within the confines of a box, no matter how big or small? That's not natural. What is natural is you grow until you can't. Only until you can't. That's the rules. You don't just say, "Oh, if I could get to this point, I'll be good," and I just stop. No, you don't. Don't do that. This is why a lot of people retire within 2 years. I want to say the average person dies within 2 years of them retiring. I think that's what it is, and I wonder why. But really, there's no wonder. And those who feel like they haven't arrived after retirement, they get to live much longer. Like my grandma retired about 15 years ago, and she's still up and running. You know what I'm saying? You gotta always be going towards something. And it doesn't have to be this grueling thing. It's just that there's just so much to do in this life. There's so much that you can do for others. There's so much you can do for yourself that It's better to stay in motion. And you know what they say about objects in motion, they tend to stay in motion. So let that be you, and take great pride in your journey, and take great pride in your circumstances. If you find yourself alone often, if you find yourself when the downtrodden, if you find yourself with adversity, because that's what we appreciate about these television shows, these movies, the superheroes, the cartoons, or whatever, is how they fight against adversity. It's not because life is just so sweet, everything gets handed to them. No, it's the adversity. It's the adversity that makes the victory so sweet. Otherwise, is it really a victory? And every day, we are faced with adversity, and we respond to our adversity by shutting down, by blocking our senses, fucking up our judgment, all of these things through substances, poor food, jerking off all the time, all these things that really get us nowhere, but it just kind of, how can I say, mitigate the pain. Really, it's like you put the pain on layaway. How long does that last? I don't know. I don't want to know. I want to know how much I can get out of this life if I don't give a fuck about what other people have to say about what I'm trying to do, if I'm not hurting anybody. That's what I want to know. The outside noise doesn't really matter because the same people talking down on you be the same people kissing your ass when they see you shining. It happens, bro. It really does. And by then, hopefully you don't care. Hopefully you don't care right now. And what you care about is the people who care about you, and you care about your mission because you have a mission. Your mission may not be mine, might not be yours or the person next to you, but you have a mission, and it'd be best for you to establish what that is, embark on that mission, and don't stop. So serious. Don't stop. All right. And so, with that being said, I wish you well on your journey. All right. Make it a great one.